of personal privilege.
Delegate at the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, I rise today to talk briefly about the Equal Rights Amendment because it is something that is dear and near to my heart. The gift of living as an African-American woman in America has indeed compelled me to stand today and speak to this issue. I stand today for women who were extremely instrumental in my life, my grandmother and my mother, who constantly battled the issues of inequality as African-American women. I stand also for my daughter and my 5-year-old granddaughter and my 10-month-old granddaughter and all of the generations of women that will follow. For them, I realize I cannot be silent on the issue of gender equality. Mr. Speaker, we were told today that God made us all equal. And I know that I believe that statement. And Mr. Speaker, I know you do too. And I'm sure that most of my colleagues in this chamber agree with that statement. Unfortunately, though the reality of how women have been treated in the Commonwealth and this nation does not reflect true equality. We also heard, Mr. Speaker, as a reference was made to words on a piece of paper. Well, Mr. Speaker, in this place that we often call Mr. Jefferson's house, we typically tend to value words written on a piece of paper. And although God made us equal, the Constitution that was written on a piece of paper did not. While the men who wrote it did some great things, there were countless number of things that were not so great. And one of those things was the status of women not recognized and not treated equal. That's why from time to time, the Constitution of the United States has been amended, Mr. Speaker. For example, one amendment, the 13th states, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime wherever the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. In other words, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. Another amendment, the 15th, Mr. Speaker, reads, the right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It is obvious that this amendment did not include white women or African-American women. Now, Mr. Speaker, both of these amendments are words written on a piece of paper. They are significant to me as a woman and to millions of other women. Mr. Speaker, words are indeed powerful. Whether they're written on a piece of paper or said aloud, they are powerful. And that's why every single member of the House Democratic Caucus signed on as a co-sponsor to these words. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Mr. Speaker, I believe the Equal Rights Amendment would be passed if it came to the floor. And Mr. Speaker, but I also know that we do not control the floor, nor do our caucus control committees, nor does it control the subcommittees. So I want to be clear that the Equal Rights Amendment needs to be on the floor, even though it may not come to the floor. I realize, Mr. Speaker, that my words today may not change the minds of members of any caucus, even if they were written on a piece of paper. But, Mr. Speaker, words are powerful, and they have meanings. And the women of the Commonwealth and the women of this nation deserve to see words written that say they are equal. And so, Mr. Speaker, it may not be written this year, but I believe eventually change will come. We can either be a part of making history by joining 37 other states who supports the ERA, or we can remain frozen in the past. It was a legendary poet, Maya Angelou, who once said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admits the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty." Women have gone through many changes. And so finally, Mr. Speaker, we have an opportunity to make changes. We have an opportunity to make history. and we have an opportunity to be in lockstep with progress. Mr. Speaker, thank you.